So, Derek, first of all, of course, congratulations on your new movie, Titanic.
Thank
Um,
you.
at the very beginning, when we see your character for the very first time, he's very impressed by the Titanic. He's like,
Mhm.
whoa. And I was wondering because I feel like it's become, like harder and harder to truly impress people these days, because we've become very digital and you can see everything online, even though people forget that it's a whole different thing to see it with your own eyes. And I was
Yeah.
wondering if you do remember, like something specific that was able to impress you as much as Titanic was able to impress your character, Jackson, in the film.
I guess it's in general for me, just because like I'm still like in the fun parts of the beginning stages of my career. Just anytime I go on sets and just seeing like everything in like real like person of like, wow, like this is how we make movies. This is how we make TV shows. This is so cool. So that's how I can definitely relate to Jackson in that way, because it's like it still amazes me every time I come on set. I'm just kind of like blown away, like this is how we do it.
Right.
So yeah.
Totally believe you, man. And what I personally love about your character is the fact that he's like a multi-talent because he's experiencing it through his own eyes while still
Mhm.
filming everything for his audience.
Yeah.
But for his wife, it's a completely different thing, because at the beginning she spent so much time on her phone and he's like, hey, you're missing it. Uh,
Right.
which is, of course, something that a lot of people do these days. And I was wondering, as we become more and more digital, how do you make sure in your life that you continue to experience everything, through your own eyes?
Um, I guess for me, it's because I actually used to like I thought I was gonna go down this like crazy influencer path. So I was like constantly like trying to get photos everywhere I went and always like posting everything. And then I just kind of
Yeah,
like realized like I was kind of missing out on a lot because I was taking so much time like in the moment trying to get the content that I was like not really present with like my friends or at the event that I was at. Like, don't get me wrong, I still do it. It's still fun. And plus it's just exciting to have that kind of stuff to look back on for yourself later. But I had to realize like even on social media, like I have a decent following. I have people who consider like my followers who like actually love getting to like see my life through my eyes and my lens, which is their the best way they could get to see it is through Instagram and social media. But so I still like to post and do all that, but I do it more from an organic place now versus like just trying to come up with something. So I'm like, if I'm inspired in the moment, I'm having a good time, or there's just like a perfect, moment for a photo or a video or whatever, then I'll do it. I'm just trying to cut down on that and be more present now. So
right. Because sometimes I feel like it can be so weird, you go through your pictures and you see like, wow, this person experienced so much and so much and so much. And then like you hear some friends saying, well, yeah, he's experienced it all through his phone. I was the one doing all the stuff in
they're
person.
like they're doing all the work, so they don't get to experience it either. So yeah, I've had some friends who are just kind of like, ugh, like I don't want to take a photo, and you're like, I'm sorry, but like it's just one, just take one good one. I'll do like we'll do it, I promise. So
Just smile
so
once
yeah, that's
and we're
yeah.
good.
So do your best just to get a couple shots and just get it done. So you're like, all right, I got the photo. We can now enjoy the event. So
Yes, absolutely.
yeah.
And I mean, since you and I are both in our 30s, so you and I exactly know how it feels like to grow up, in a time where all that technology did not really exist that we have today, of course. Are
Right.
there any, specific things that you like to keep old school in a way?
Maybe not. I feel like I progressed with the times. I mean, if anything, I enjoy still talking on the phone with people. Just because it's just nice to have that connection with the voice. Because sometimes when you're texting and it's so easy to still be doing so many things, put your phone down, get back to them in 5 or 10 minutes, and the conversation can be stifled that way. So at least with a phone call, granted, we can still multitask on a phone call, but at least you're still more connected. You can be doing things and talking at the same time, throw them on speaker or something like that. So
Yeah.
old school in that sense for our age range, that would be old school. So yeah, that's probably what I would say I do in old school, because like I don't really write letters. So like if anything, it's an email or a text or whatever. Um,
Right.
yeah, I would say that's probably my old school thing that I do
All right, great.
or like to do. You'd be surprised. So many people actually don't like being on the phone. You're like, you'll try to call them and they'll be like, text you back. What do you want? And you're like, I just want to talk to you. Come on. It's like, what? What's so wrong with that?
So one dialogue that I liked in the movie, right at the beginning, is, you know, from your character, he goes like, let's have the trip of a lifetime. And I was wondering, in your career, what would you say has been, you know, like the trip of a lifetime so far?
I could definitely say doing this movie was a lot of fun, not just because it was one of the more recent things that just came out. I will just say because I got to really like, most of the characters I've played so far have been like smaller roles, like quick one-liners and things like that, because I'm still working my way up into getting like the bigger stuff. So this is one of the like larger roles for me. So it was more fun to create this character, create the couple with Anna Lynn, which was a lot of fun. And then and actually on this film, because like you don't really see it too much, but it's like, as far as like spoiler alert, I die in the movie a third of the way through, and I get sucked away by a ghost. But actually getting to do it was so flippin' cool. Like I because they had a stunt man there just in case, because I actually got wired up and I was like dragged backwards on
Oh,
like this like wire down the thing, but you can't tell in the film that's what happened. So it's like, it's cool to have gotten to experience that. So for me, that was one of the probably the coolest things I've gotten to do as an actor so far, because I'm like, I really want to do all my own stunts, as I do more like action stuff and hopefully superhero stuff. I really want to get to all that. So that was just super exciting for me. I was like a little kid that day, like getting in my harness, and they're like putting me up and doing all the stuff, and then getting dragged backwards. And I'm like, can we
yeah.
do it again? Like, can you just drag me backwards because it's fun? Like, do we have to
Like,
film? Just drag me backwards. I don't even care. It was fun.
take 200,
So
like.
yeah, it's like, yeah, just can we do it one more? And they're like, so yeah, I think we only did it like 3 times, and I was like, it's
Oh,
over. Like,
you were like
does it have to?
disappointed.
Yeah, because like, can we do it again? so, so for that reason, I would definitely say that's like definitely been like just a lifetime moment thing for me so far.
No, but it's so cool that you're mentioning it, because of course when you watch the movie, it's like a tiny little moment. It's like 2 seconds
It's
long, but you
it's
don't
so
know how
quick,
much thought and work went into it. Actually, you don't see that as an
right?
audience member, of course.
Right, and the fact that there could have been it could have been a stunt person, but I was like, no, like you can go home. I got this, and
Go have
so
some
it was
lunch.
cool. And even like the stunt guys, like they were like, you did really good for your first stunt. Like it's not like it was a crazy stunt or anything, but they were like, we know professionals who would have had a harder time with this, and I was like, this was
Ooh,
easy. So they were like, yeah, anytime like if we ever know about stunt work, we'll definitely hit you up or whatever. I'm like, sign me up. That's cool. I'll do it. It'll be
you're like,
fun.
next time, let's go further.
Yeah, that's like, how high can we throw me next time and drag me up into the air and fly around? So
Oh no,
yeah.
so cool, man. Seriously, so cool. What's also cool is that, you know, we can say that both of your characters, Mia and Jackson, are very successful on Instagram, like with 12 million followers,
Right. I
which
was
is
like,
like
wow.
definitely 20, 30 more than we have.
Yeah.
So,
Just a few.
but yeah, but of course they don't have that many followers just because they were waiting for people to discover them.
Mhm.
It's like they needed a lot of discipline, and of course it's a lot of work to get there. And I feel like that a lot of people these days are like giving up before they are trying. You know, they're like, there's too much competition out there, or I'm
Mhm.
not good enough and stuff like that. You know, they just don't give it a try. And also they might hear like 2 or 3 no's, and then they like
Mhm.
tell themselves, well, you know what, it's not meant to be. So I was wondering from your point of view, because so many people don't actually know that even like the biggest stars get to hear no's every single day.
Oh my
So
goodness.
what would you say from your point of view, how much discipline and how many no's are necessary until, you know, you get there where you are today?
Oh my goodness. Well, I've been at this for essentially, well, I've been trying since technically 2009. It's 2022. So 13 years to get to where I'm at. And I've only really recently seen any kind of momentum in the past year and a half. So really like 10-ish years before I finally started getting yeses and getting good like feedback and, people noticing me. That's not to say obviously in those 10 years I've gotten extremely more confident, better in my craft. I'm more present in my work and learned all like the actor tricks and things that you're not really tricks, but just the things you're supposed to do, like where actors are still human. Like you're bringing a human aspect to characters sometimes can take a little while.
Yeah.
So I mean, just for me and my own experience, I mean, 10 years, like you have to just be okay with knowing like this is what I want to do. I'm gonna make it happen. So I don't care if it takes 10 years and I have to go to classes and workshops and hear 100,000 no's.
Yeah.
It's worth it when you finally get there. So, like you said, some people are just like, "Oh, it's been a year and I haven't done anything." I'm like, "Try 10 years. Like, you just started. I don't want to hear it. Hit me up in 10 years. In 10 years, if it's not happening for you, maybe okay, maybe it's time to give it a put it on the shelf or do it like it
Yeah.
on the side." But
Yeah.
even then, at that point, it's like there's been some people who it took them even longer, like than me. So like it's just a matter of like knowing what you want, having a dream, being steadfast, and going for it.
Absolutely, because I remember Helen Mirren, for example, who is like super huge these days, and
Hmm.
even she said that her breakthrough was after the age of 40. So,
Right.
and people would already say, when it's Hollywood, you have to start very early, and or then it's like it's too late. But for Helen Mirren, that was like the starting point.
Right. And Morgan Freeman was another good example. Like he started later in
Yeah,
life. Like there's so many people. Like there's no right or wrong time. If it's something you want to do, just do it. Like
yeah,
you only get one. You only get one life. Live it.
exactly. Yeah. Because there are like some people, maybe in the next life, no, 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 no.
No,
Do
like
it right.
this life. This
Yes.
life.
Yeah.
Do it in this one.
Oh yeah, for sure. 100% agree. So, and in this life, you are right now having over 100,000 followers on Instagram yourself.
Hmm.
Um, and I was wondering, with the growing success and following, because, in the film, I liked this moment, when, because Hale kind of hated Jackson and Mia. He was like, "Oh, get out of the way, you're influencers," and so on. But
Right.
like the moment he found out how many followers they have and how much money they actually earn, he was like,
Right.
damn, these are like potential buyers. So changed his persona. So he pretended to like them. So maybe they will buy something from him.
Right.
And I was wondering, as your following is growing and as your success is becoming more and more, what would you say how difficult it has become to let new people into your life, that are truly interested in you and truly believe in your skills and that aren't,
Hmm.
just after your own success you're experiencing?
I guess at this point in my career, like I don't have those people I don't feel like are like trying to leech on to me
Yeah.
just yet at where I'm at. So I guess I haven't had to look like I guess luck and that's luckily, experience that.
You think
Just
you think you
because
need the 12 million first?
right, when I hit 12 million, we'll talk. But no, I've had like some people you'll like chat with them or whatever, and they're like, oh, like just fly me out. We'll go hang out or something. And I'm like, fly you out? Like, I can't even afford to fly anywhere. Yeah, like, what do you mean? Like, I barely, like, let me pull up my miles and check if I can't even afford, like, I'll go across the country one time and back. What do you mean? Like, fly you out? Like, who do you think I am? Like,
They're
so I've had
like,
a
hey,
couple of those moments.
Ellen, so call Ellen and do stuff like
Yeah, and so like just hit her up, like, what up, girl? Um,
that.
no, I was just kind of like, that's like been a couple times where it's just kind of like, oh, like people look at me that way. Like that's very interesting. Like if they only really knew, like it's
So
not
they're
that
like
way at all.
completely developing, like a false sense in a way of what it actually means that where you are
Mm,
at this point in your career.
exactly. Like you'd be surprised how many people who are influencers or social media stars or even on TV shows and like they're still struggling. Like they still live like regular lives, regular apartments with roommates and just trying to get to the next gig like the rest of us. It's the same struggle. It just looks different because of optics and how you can make it look. But yeah, it's funny.
Yeah,
But I mean, on the plus side, like obviously having a little bit of notoriety, not that I think I'm anything, um, but it does kind of like get you those little perks where like you do get invited to like an event that maybe you wouldn't have got to go to, or someone might give you the time of day because you see a little blue check mark in the DM or something like that. Like so, it's got its own little mini perks, but nothing like anyone's like trying to like overload me and overwhelm me with like trying to get anything out of me. So.
and what would you say, because when I saw the movie, I felt like that your character is truly into what he experiences, and he
Hmm.
loves to capture that experience for his viewers.
Hmm.
But when it comes down to his wife Mia, um, because she says it right away, she's not into the fact that they are making money off a tragedy, and so she's like pretending she's into it for her followers,
Right.
like pretending she's enjoying it even though she's not. Um,
Yeah.
and I was wondering, because being successful or becoming more and more successful doesn't necessarily mean that you are into everything you're doing. And I was wondering,
Right.
as you are continuing to exploring your career and becoming more and more successful, how do you make sure that, yes, you are still working on your success, but at the same time making sure that whatever you do, you continue to fully enjoy without developing the need to like pretend you're enjoying it?
Hmm. Well, I always feel like I have to come at it everything that I do as much as I possibly can, as very authentic as possible. Like, because I'm known to wear my heart on my sleeve, so sometimes it's difficult for me to actually act through things that I'm not enjoying. Obviously I can do it, and I've done it plenty of times, as we all have to do, to go to an event or something. You're talking to someone, you're like, uh-huh, yeah, that's great, uh-huh, uh-huh, and you're like, are you done yet? Like, someone come and save me. Like, I don't want to talk to this person. um yeah, so like we all do it. As far as like my acting career, like it's also like you're gonna have good sets, bad sets, good experiences, bad experiences.
Yeah.
um but on sets, you got to play along. Like, hopefully, especially like in, where I'm at in my career, I don't have the luxury of like I've heard some stories, man, about like people just locking themselves in their trailers, and I'm like,
Ooh.
I could never imagine doing that. Like, I just can't. Like, I don't know. Obviously, I'm not at that level to where I feel like I have to be comfortable to keep getting work and have that reputation. But I also come at it as like, it's a job. If I get hired to do a job, I'm gonna come and do my job, whether or not I am enjoying it or not. Like, you hire me to act, I sign the contract. I'm here to do my job. I may not enjoy it, but I'm gonna do my best job for what you asked me to come and do. So, um, I may not be, like I said, I may not like it, but I'll do it. So,
Right.
like I
And
said, I try to be authentic with everything, and just be upfront and that kind of thing.
yeah, and I mean, like, I feel like that the good thing is that no experience is truly wasted, because I feel like so many people are, are always asking, hey, do you have like any regrets, but even though even though the people that make like big movies, and then they are like, this one wasn't necessarily good, but that doesn't
Right.
really mean that you have to regret the experience making it and that time you've had on set and everything.
Right, because you're gonna take something away from it, whether or not it's a connection to a new friend or someone
Yeah.
on set who you never know is gonna do their next project and love you and bring you on to that next bigger thing. Or it could have been in the worst experience, top to bottom. Everyone was atrocious. The movie was atrocious.
Damn
But
it.
then you learn, then you learn, okay, well, I appreciate the work that I do get when it is a film that I enjoy or a role I enjoy, or it becomes a success. So like, you gotta have those ups and downs, in general, because otherwise it's like if everything was just always good, it would just kind of get boring anyway. So
Oh yeah, absolutely. No, and I feel like that, sometimes, people are like, how could this actor do this movie? It's so crap, But what a lot of
mhm.
people don't understand is that even actors, of course, don't know how a movie turns out in the end, because they read the script, of course, they feel like this sounds very promising, the director sounds
Right.
promising and everything, but you don't know if the script really stays that way until until it's completed, and you don't know if it really fits your own vision of it.
Right. There's been plenty of times where I'll read a script, read a scene, and then you get on set and you're doing it and you're like, is this the same? Is this what I thought? Is this the scene? Like, is this really it? Like, okay, it's not what I
That
thought, but it's
studio
not
this
really
way.
about me. It's the director's vision, the producers sometimes, their vision, and them stepping in. Obviously, it's a collaboration, so you as the actor, you'd have room to try and like talk things out, but they know in the end what their expectation is of how it fits with the next scene or down the road within the rest of the film. So you just kind of have to somehow, you have to, not somehow, but you just have to put trust into those that are like
Hmm.
doing the work off camera than being like, okay, well, all right, that's what you want. Cool. That's what I'll give you, but it's not what I would have thought, but cool. Like, all right, all right, all right. I got you. So